In my previous video, I talked about the primary progressive objective you want to have a focus on to achieve the results that you want. For example, if you want to burn fat and calories, you want to focus on time and doing more physical activity to burn a lot more of the fat and calories. If you're looking to build muscle and strength, intensity is the primary thing you want to focus on progressing over time. And of course, if you want to improve your functional performance in anything you're doing, proficiency is what we want to focus on practicing to improve. Now, these are the three things that are going to make the biggest difference in helping you get the results that you want. But what about the other two progressive variables? Well, one can be helpful, but not quite as much, but the other may actually hold you back. For example, if you're trying to burn as much fat and calories as possible, time is your number one progressive variable, and intensity is secondary. But proficiency, if you're spending too much time practicing skills or using exercises that require a high degree of skill to be able to do it, that can potentially compromise the amount of time you can spend doing the activity, and therefore your total energy expenditure. And of course, you should learn how to run better and have better skill and technique in anything you do, so it is important. But if you're emphasizing proficiency and skill too much, it can compromise that primary objective. When it comes to building muscle and strength, intensity is numero uno. Proficiency is secondary, because the better you engage your muscles and the better your technique is, the harder you're going to be able to push your muscles. However, if you're focusing too much on increasing time and volume, that can potentially compromise your training intensity. So you make the exercises easier, you use an easier technique, and you just add volume for volume's sake, all the while decreasing the vital intensity. And finally, proficiency, you have time as secondary, because you do want to have a good deal of practice time, but intensity can compromise your proficiency. This is why a lot of times, if a strength coach is trying to improve the performance or the technique of someone on a lift, they'll decrease the weight or the resistance that they're using. Because when we use a very heavy weight, we typically default to whatever technique we're normally used to, warts and all. That's not to say that these three things are bad. Of course, they do play a very beneficial role, but we want to treat them kind of like medicine. The poison is potentially in the dose. They can be very helpful for your objective, but only when used in the right amounts. But if you're focusing too much on proficiency and it's costing you training intensity and time, that's going to compromise your total calorie burn. If you're focusing too much on time and it's compromising your intensity, that can hold you back as far as building muscle and strength. And if you're focusing too much on intensity and it's compromising your proficiency, it can impair your performance. So just something a little more reframing on what you should focus on in your training to get what you want, and what are your training objectives in your workouts over the next week. We'd love to hear from you down below in the comments section. More videos here. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.